This class is probably more geared towards people that are partnered, probably trying to reconcile moving forward. But even if you're not, I think you'll get something out of it. The start of this year means that it's time for resolutions, or more accurately, thinking about resolutions. They seem good in theory, but they are usually so weighty and serious that they feel more like homework. That's one strike against them. Understandably, we are so stretched thin in virtually every area of our life. And then to add any additional challenge, such as betrayal and trauma and so forth, it's almost enough to be the straw that broke the camel's back. You may not necessarily have time for the stuff that you need to do, let alone anything above and beyond that. You also don't have loads of energy that making a change requires. Sometimes you just want to zone out at the end of the day, which is understandable, but it leads uh, to you, and of course, if you're partnered, your partner to get into patterns where you do everything for the kids, everything for your job, everything for your volunteering opportunities, everything for your church, everything for A, B, and C, and very little to nothing in terms of for your relationship. So that's how problems occur. And when problems occur in this situation, resentments fester. The last thing we want is resentment to settle in, because now what you're doing is trying to chip away at solidified concrete. Anyways, if you're partnered and working on reconciliation, it's in your best interest to create a few new shared goals. However, goal setting only works if they're attainable, which is why, you shouldn't if you're 500 pounds, you shouldn't set a goal that by the end of the month, you're going to be 200 pounds. It's just not attainable. You're not going to even get on the treadmill. It's your motivation is going to be nil. So that means no scheduling, no quotas, no need to find a babysitter. It's got to be stuff that's quick and seamless that fits into your day. These are the goals. And don't forget, these goals have to be fun. So here are a couple ways that you can make your resolutions to consider this year. Basically, it's just a couple ways to inject, like I said, funtivities into your relationship, because oftentimes we go from the beginning of a relationship which is passionate. And then when that kind of wears off, we get into more compassionate. But if you don't work on it, we get into complacency. So I want to take us from complacency back to intimacy. So number one, a funtivity for February could mean create activity jars. So you each get to fill your own jar with whatever activities you want. It could be, you pick the TV show, you sleep an extra 15 minutes in. It could be sex right now. It could be a few heartfelt words written by your partner or your spouse. It really doesn't matter. It could be anything. Don't create any schedule or requirements. That's merely turning something fun into more of a have to do. And a guarantee that it won't happen, or it's done with rolled eyes or a sigh. So your only goal with creating this activity jar is trying to weave in ideas into your lives, which is easier than you think if it's done, because anything that you do eventually will become a habit. And if you're not partnered, this can be done with your children, with your friends, with your parents, if you're close with them. You just have to modify what you put in those jars. That's all. Two, this is with your partner. When a bell sounds, kiss. It could be anything that, is a prompt and then a behavior. So it could be when the phone rings, or when a text comes in, or when a child says mine. You're looking for some prompt that happens regularly but randomly. And while harmless, it gives a pop of physical connection, something that can easily fade over time, like I said, in long-term relationships, when we go from passion to compassion to complacency. So if you want to get even more brazen, do it whenever somebody starts to get angry. So your partner or your spouse or your kid, like I said, starts to get a little heated. This is where you come in for a hug or come in for a kiss or what have you. The kids might be mortified, or if you have younger kids, horrified at the new sight of PDA with their parents, if you have younger kids, like I said. And if you're not partnered, you can use this, like I said, with your kids. An example could be a prompt that happens like every time you get a text on your phone, or every time your child calls you, or any prompt, you immediately give your child a hug, or you give them a compliment. It could be a quick compliment. It could be, I love you. You mean everything to me. You're enough, before you pick up your phone and read that text. If you're not partnered and you have no kids, or your kids aren't young, create a reward that you give yourself when a certain prompt occurs. So you're going to tell yourself, okay, every single time my phone rings or every single time I get a text on my phone, I'm just going to, I love me. You are amazing. Simple. Prioritize alone time. Now, I'm not talking about prioritizing alone time for the two of you, but individually, which is sometimes all that somebody really needs or wants. Start slowly. Maybe a weekday works better, or possibly a weekend. You take an hour in the morning, and if you can't have an hour, 10 minutes. And if you can't have 10 minutes, 2 minutes. This is just to get you in the habit of taking alone time for yourself. Your partner can get an hour in the afternoon, you can get an hour in the morning, or you can get an hour at night, and your partner gets, what have you. It doesn't matter how you work it out, or the 10 minutes or the 2 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Regardless of how it works, you're committed to making it happen, because even though there's always something to do at home, you know that when you leave and come back after you have your alone time, you're refreshed and you're replenished, and you're ready to give what you just gave yourself to others. Because so many times we give so much to others that we deplete our own bank account, and who's investing in our bank account? If nobody's investing in our bank account, we have to invest ourselves, because we can't give to others what we don't have ourselves. The same goes for what your partner chooses. If you have a partner, like I said, if you cannot leave home, then have a designated room or an area in your house where your occupants know that it's your time for yourself and not to bother you. And if you don't have a place in your house, then go to your car. Start it up, warm it up, spend 2 minutes listening to a couple songs, 10 minutes listening to a couple songs, and then come back. You'd be amazed at what little time does to feel refreshed and renewed. I understand this is easier said than done, especially with small children. I have 2 small children. I get it. I understand. But any activity will become a part of your daily or weekly routine if it's repeated over time. And as RuPaul says, you gotta love yourself, because honey, ain't nobody else is gonna do it for you. All right, number 4, start wagering. This could be any wager. It could be anything, like when the plumber is going to show up, what time the plumber is going to show up, or I just sent grandma a text or a picture. What do you think she's going to respond with? What word is she going to use to respond with? Betting makes routine stuff competitive, and the winner could get to pick from the activity jar. But even if it's just bragging rights, you've created your inside joke along with this wager. When wagering is done with a partner, it could be romantic and fun. When wagering is done with a child, it could be fun and certainly a bonding moment. Bonding helps us confirm our relationships. These wagers could be anything small, like I said, and they could be, oh, if I'm right, I get a high five. If you're right, what do you want? I mean, they could be just fun and engaging. And like I said, it brings together connection. Number 5, install penalties. Now, this doesn't mean a timeout or a spanking. Select a handful of the other person's low-level annoyances, leaving laundry on the floor, not replacing the garbage bag, flossing outside the bathroom, stuff like that, little tiny micro pet peeves. And whenever the discretion occurs, the aggrieved partner gets to go to the jar, and you must honor the chosen activity. So, your spouse, your child, whoever you're doing this with, promise they're going to put the cap back on the toothpaste. You walk in the bathroom, the cap's not back on the toothpaste. You get to pick from that jar of whatever, and they have to honor it. That's their consequence. It might get your quote offender to shape up, but definitely it changes the mindset. So it's reframing, and instead of nagging or arguing, you're basically doing something fun instead. 6, text each other. It doesn't have to be anything suggestive, although there's nothing wrong with that. Just at some point during the day, shoot off a funny text, or you can say, hey, funny story, remind me to tell you later. Or how about a simple thinking of you? If you're in a really good space, you can text something along the lines of, um, I have a little surprise for you waiting for you at 7 tonight, or whatever, 5 tonight, or 9 tonight, or whatever. And that surprise literally could be anything. It could be something that speaks to your spouse's love language, or it really could be anything. It could be a little tiny note, and that could be a 3-word note, literally. It could be a baked good. It could be a prank or a joke. I mean, really, it doesn't matter. It's the whole, I have a surprise waiting for you at such and such time. It's the anticipation that we're going for. And at the risk of sounding crazy, if you're single, you can still do this with yourself. Send yourself a text saying, I love you. I'm thinking about you. You're gorgeous. You're this, you're that. Send yourself a text or tell yourself, hey, you got a surprise waiting for you at 8, and have a little cookie in the refrigerator that you can eat at 8 o'clock. Hey, that'll give you some good anticipation. After all, we're supposed to be our best friends, so treat yourself to random surprises. Number 7, share some trivia. I know I said 5 funtivities, but hey, I'll give you a few bonus ones. Share some trivia together. Have conversations semi-regularly inspired by something that you heard, read, watched, or thought. And if your partner doesn't respond in kind, ask them to share something equally trivial. Now, the topic should have 2 components: laugh out loud funniness, and nothing to do with children, religion, money, or politics. Unless, of course, you guys are on the same page and understanding with, religion or politics or what have you. But not talking about religion, politics, money, COVID, etc. for even 15 seconds. Remind you of the other aspects of your life that are part of you and outside of heavy duty responsibilities. An example of this could be simply this: asking your partner or your grown-up child or your neighbor, your friend, whoever you're doing with this, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's a fun discussion. 8, chart your support. And again, this could be done with anyone, whether it's a romantic partner, significant other, married spouse, your child. Everyone wants to feel that someone has their back. And again, if you're partnered, you want to feel like your partner has your back. But sometimes you wonder where it is. So take away the mystery with a chart on the refrigerator. And every time you do something that you deem as supportive to your spouse, give yourself a sticker. Anytime you're speaking your spouse's love language, anytime you're doing something that has their back, anytime you're doing something above and beyond for them, you give yourself a sticker. And the first 1 to 20 stickers wins a prize. What is that prize? Could be anything you talked about before. It also could be going back to that jar I talked to and taking something out of that jar. That's your surprise. Now, a few things are at play here. You're looking for opportunities by being overt. Your partner feels their support, but there's the question of, well, that's not necessarily support or backup. You get to explain why you feel it was support or backup. Maybe your partner was missing your intention. Maybe your intention wasn't as obvious as you thought. You then tweak your actions to resonate, and ultimately you're training your eyes on new things. So again, this is all a way to connect, all the way to create memories, and all the way to bond with whoever you're choosing to do this with. You get to rewire so many parts of your connection, your communication, your bridge building, and do something fun. So remember, we teach people how to treat us. These are all teaching moments as well. As with all of these resolutions, the goal here, like I've been saying, is togetherness. It's communicating, it's bonding, it's making memories, whether it's with your spouse, your children, your family, or yourself. You are your own best friend. So treat yourself kindly, with respect, and have fun with yourself.